see. It looks like I have almost everyone in the. By the way, y'all, the chat is unmuted, but it looks like for some reason August isn't updated.
Oh, you didn't do like a starting suit at all. You just jumped right in.
Oh, I did.
Oh, because currently on Twitch it's the screen of everybody.
What did I do?
I don't think it's something that you did. I'm just.
You
I think
don't
you
have
need to
a.
do the yeah.
Oh, because this is a new Discord.
You're not foogied.
Yeah, you don't have your reactive set up to the new Discord.
Mine's set up. I sent it in a tweetar to B.
Oh, so
Do I
B
need to
hasn't
send it
put
again?
in the thingy.
We're on like
let's
individual
see.
ones, so B can tell us where to go. She just needs to put a new one in.
I did good, I swear.
Oh, you did send it. I'm just.
Why do I keep closing out all these?
I really wish I could tell you.
Yuck, yuck.
And you're sure the images are set?
Yeah, let me try and.
Very strange.
Hold on. Let me. Come on, telephono.
B, if you go into Fugi, it should have all of our individuals listed too, and you can just copy from there.
Good catch.
I got your Fugi right here.
Oh boy.
Holster grabs.
Fugi cheese nuts.
I was able to pull out these nuts jokes on my players on Monday. It was incredible.
Oh God.
Guess who got their Discord back?
Yay.
Oh, the amount of porn. The amount
I made
of
all my
porn.
players cry on Monday.
Yeah, I wasn't even there and I cried.
Oh no. Oh.
It was 6 months in the making to make them all cry.
It's showing your Discord
you're
avatar
huge.
for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your Discord profile picture.
Oh no. There's so much. People were sending the hacker images that the devil would cry about, and I'm looking and I'm just closing my eyes going, this is not the time. This is not the time. Let me swap. Hold on, I will be right back. I'm gonna see if this works.
Oh, I still need to get into
Oh,
Roll20.
If you have the Discord back, I can also re-enable your roles on that. You do have. You said you are back in the Discord for your original account, right? Geronimo?
I think Geronimo.
She said she was switching something and
she's probably
disappeared off the
switching
face of the
Discord
earth.
accounts.
Oh.
Never to be seen again.
This is our ceremonial getting rid of the scuff.
You should probably drop your other person from chat then. Geronimo.
How do I disable him? How do I?
Don't worry. It's a on my end sort of thing, I think.
Short of, you could have just left when you had the other account logged in.
Well, that's weird. Is it's all on one computer. It's all on one computer.
It'll probably disconnect eventually.
Oh, it's it is you, but it is the different you.
It's not August.
I'm having an identity crisis.
Yeah.
See,
like the first 5 minutes of this stream's gonna get cut from the VOD.
Yeah, like if you're watching this live on Twitch, congratulations, you're seeing things that no one on YouTube will get to see.
Exclusive.
Absolutely.
Gloria.
There we go, I think. Yeah. August is gone.
Now we just need Geronimo to correct the reactive.
Is my reactive not reacting? Oh,
Yep.
that is not August.
No, that's why we said it's not August.
Funky. No, because I had the August set up with August, and now,
Mm.
get out of there. Oh, it's too much. Okay. Oh, okay.
Thank you for the hydrate, Ellie.
You're welcome. Drink.
Suck it down. Slurp.
As a reminder, if at any point after we go fully live and do the player intros, if you would like to know more about them, you can use the cast command,
Would you like to know more?
and you will get
There's
links
August.
to everyone's
There's
Twitch.
August.
Sorry.
Hey, it's no problem. All right. So are all of y'all ready?
2 years, Obsidia. Holy crap.
I know, it's wild.
I'm kind of a Chad, what could I say?
It's true. She is very much dedicated herself to being a glucose guardian. All right. Let's see. Yes, I think that my sound alerts are currently disabled. Okay. I think we'll actually get started now in 3, 2, 1, and recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Deadlands, Wayward Guns. We're going to be exploring more of the dark side and the creepy, crawly horrors that reside within 1876 Chicago. But before we do that, as per usual, I'd like to give everyone who is in our player roster a chance to say hi, introduce themselves, and if they have anything to plug, go right ahead. Let's just go down in alphabetical. So, Ellie?
Hi, my name is Ellie. You can find me on Twitch as Eliador. I very rarely stream. Have said that I will stream and have been a dirty liar. But I will be streaming soon some Destiny 2 as the new expansion is coming out, and I am very much addicted. But you can also find me on Twitter as Eliador. And yeah, I'm playing Brigitta Jónsdóttir.
All right. Epitome?
I am Epitome Awkward, also known as Epitome. I do not stream unless I am on stream with B. I will be plugging something later on in the stream, and I am playing Minghua Sutter.
Very good, very good. Next is Geronimo.
Hello. I play August Jerez, and I stream every other day from the day you see me streaming, unless I'm really tired, and then it goes back another day. So it's confusing. But that is all.
Okay. And Hemlock?
Hello. I am Hemlock. You can find me on Twitch at Hemlock. I have been working on rigging now my 3.0 model. So if any interest in weird music and learning about rigging, I do that when my body doesn't hurt, which isn't super often.
All right.
I play Parrot.
And last but not least, Obsidia.
Hey, I'm Obsidia. I am currently sick, so I do my best. I play Xenobia Whatley, and you can find me on Twitch and Twitter and stuff, Obsidiax, pretty much everywhere. I'm also raising money for one more week for Trans Lifeline on Tilify. I just posted my link. We've raised over $1,000 so
Excellent.
far. It's a trans suicide prevention and support network, so go check it out, spread the word, and if you can and want to, please feel free to donate. It's for a good cause.
Nice.
The end.
And if you're here, you probably already know me, but hey, maybe you are just surfing through the tabletop RPG section and found this, or came through a recommendation or whatever. Hi, I am Beatrix Bunny, peculiar little rabbit, and I do variety content with a focus on roguelikes, digital artwork, and tabletop RPGs like this one. Once we get a little further into the new year, I'm planning on also having a secondary campaign of a different system, different adventure, different characters that will be every week that this game is not. Essentially, it's going to be, this is every second Thursday if you're looking to catch more episodes, and it will then also have the every other Thursday will be the other game. But that's not nearly as important as getting into our adventure here. So, where we last left off, our 5 heroes here have been exploring the cold wasteland that is late 19th century Chicago in the winter. And it has not been the best of times so far. Upon arriving and circumstance or fate or whatever have you pulling them together, they have found that they have quickly been embroiled in, at first, what looked like a simple matter of pest extermination or finding a couple of bad actors spoiling the stay for guests at a hotel and outfitters, McClellan Outfitters, but has quickly become something far stranger and far darker. Fortunately, you've been given the privileges and powers to explore as you need. Unfortunately, this has led you to the discovery at the very end of our last episode. On top of the hotel, there is what can only be described as a gruesome scene inside a water tank of a dead body found bloated and in some state of decay.
I did not find this.
For those of you playing at home, Min did in fact find this.
No, I did not.
Dun,
You
dun,
can't prove
dun.
anything.
I know, I'm saying I'm saying for them. So, with that said, what are y'all going to do?
So what's in there?
Since Ming is the only one who saw
Yes,
it.
Min?
Sorry, there was some Operation Hammond bullshit that just happened. Nothing. And I come sliding down, wide-eyed.
Okay, anyone who would like to can make a scrutinize check on Min.
I'm going to say I fail at hiding it at all. Like, clearly I'm lying. Can't prove shit.
Scrutinize.
No, there's no reason to be bashful, my dear. We all among trusted folk.
It's not bashful. You can't prove I found anything.
You know that we're not, like, police, right?
She is still very quiet about this. She literally just met you guys. Like,
We're
Man,
not
you
going
gotta be
to
real
throw
with
you
me.
in prison.
If the water's bad, I took a bath last night, man.
take another bath with other water.
I took a shower this morning. I need to know. This hair. Okay.
Go up and look.
Can I go up and look?
Sure. Because you have not been given any indication of what's up there and thus have no way of preparing yourself, you also need to make the fear check, unless Min
Sorry.
would like to say literally anything.
Ming being literally the worst.
What would that be in?
It's guts.
Yes, there should be a macro in the battle section of your character sheet.
Oh yeah, under combat stuff at the top under common rolls it says guts plus grit. You just click that. That's for fear checks.
Ooh, good job, Parrot.
The number hasn't loaded for me yet.
That is enough.
It's
So,
10.
Okay.
you look inside the water tank, and before you even can really see anything, you can smell it. It's the scent of soggy, waterlogged decay. As your eyes adjust, you're able to make out within it some sort of shape, which, as it takes form and you see more of the bloated, warped features, becomes clear that this is a dead body.
Parrot is like holding on to like the sides of the ladder and just like slams her head back and goes, "That's a corpse! That's a corpse!"
Okay, so there's a corpse in there. That's
There's
not
a dead
good.
guy!
You found it.
Hey!
You found it.
Sure.
What appears to be the cause of death?
It's gross.
I
If
hardly
any-
believe that, despite the, bathing habits of your average Chicagoan, I doubt that it was simply poor hygiene that led to his terminality.
I'm no corpse looker. I'm not a professional corpse looker, Xenobia. He's real fucking full of water.
Question: did anyone bring up a portable light source to the roof? It's still fairly early in the day, so you might not have necessarily had one, but did anyone have one in the just on-hand equipment they brought up?
It's been a month. I don't know what we grabbed on the way here.
Probably not.
Anything in your inventory?
I don't own anything that could make light. I have a
You
medical
can
bag.
pass up my lantern.
Alright.
Okay.
I do have a lantern in my equipment, but it's not something I would necessarily just walk around with.
I would not have one with me.
Min, did you say that you have one?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm gonna say I do.
Alright, so you all have access to a light source that you can shine in here. I'm going to say basically that's going to allow you to make some of these rolls without penalty. But you can still sort of see through the murky water the bottom of the tank. It's fairly full. It looks like it would go up. Parrot, I believe you're you're about average height, maybe a little shorter. Is that right?
Parrot's pretty tall.
Pretty tall. So I would say on you, it would probably come up to around mid ribs in height if you were to stand upright inside the tank here. So there's about that much water currently in the tank. You're welcome to try and make rolls to determine things, any potential clues out here as well. I will say if you're looking for just general clues, people can give me a search roll, I'll say. There is still a little bit of snow left on the roof, so if people want to try making a tracking roll to see if there's any prints of things, and if anyone can get close to the body, close enough to say to touch it, I will allow a medicine forensics check to
Sorry.
to learn more about it through mundane science, but I believe there's a member of the group that also may have something less mundane.
Yeah. How far into the, like, from where Parrot's looking down at it to the floating corpse, what's that distance?
I would say, I mean, it's a large tank, but it's not the only tank up here either. I would say that you would have to lean over further than you would trust your balance on your own, but if you had someone, say, like, holding onto you from behind, or some kind of counterweight like that, you could probably
Gotcha.
get close enough that you would be able to touch the corpse without having to get in the water.
Excellent. Yeah, with that, Xenobia be like, well, if you give me a moment, I can try and use some of my particular knowledge skill sets and put them to use.
Okay. I'd rather not have to, like, haul them out of there, to be honest. Can we call somebody? They got a corpse hauler over here.
So far, as far as you know, you are the only people that know that this body is here.
Parrot's gonna climb down and let Xenobia go up and, like, offer to hold the back of her jacket, I guess.
Hold my hips.
So
Put your hands on my hips.
lean over the corpse.
The most
what a
romantic
nice move,
corpse
too.
viewing.
Yeah, please hold me close as I reach in to touch this bloated corpse.
Hold me closer, circus performer. Doesn't
Oh,
quite work.
Parrot, don't get too far off. I need you to lend a helping hand, or perhaps two.
Alright. It's
And,
important to describe for the fan art.
I imagine it being like Ghost, with the pottery scene.
With stink lines, though.
Fantastic.
So Xenobia, with still her dagger in one hand, is gonna reach over and try and grab that corpsey doodle.
Whoopsie doodle. Fantastic. There. Okay. So, yes, you're certainly able to get close enough to touch it. Oh, all right. Oh, also, if you're going to be rolling search, please specify which part of this area you're trying to search. Are you trying to search within the tank, the outside of the tank, the rooftop, the ledges of the roof, the elevator? You've got some options.
Yes, I don't know what everyone else is doing. I will try and necrology this thing once everyone else has said what they're respectively doing.
Min looks a little bit shaken, and is just gonna be off to the side for a sec.
All right.
Parrot will look around the ladder while waiting for Xenobia to get up there.
Okay.
I'd keep a general eye out on the roof.
You know what? I can do that. I can keep an eye out on the roof. I'm short, but put me high enough.
All right. In that case, I would allow either a search roll or a flat cognition roll. If you have anything that boosts visual things for close or at range.
August would like to take a search for the area with Abby.
Sounds good.
Would I have to roll a check, or would Abby roll a check?
Let's see. Abby has 1d6 search, but I'll say that if she's helping you, since obviously dogs have different and some stronger senses than humans, add a plus. Let's go with +2 to. Yeah, let's go with a +2 to search rolls. And let me know when you cast Necrology.
Yep. Well, with everybody doing their thing, I guess I'll cast now.
Okay. All right. So, you feel some of your blood souring in your veins as you reach out to try and touch the bloated body. Did you make your...
I'm casting it now. That's an 8.
All right, that's enough. So, let's see.
All right.
So is that the total success? Like, is that the only success you got for it?
Yeah, I only got the one.
Okay, so that means you get to ask one question off of the list there. And what this would look like is, to most of the other people, I think that they might see what looks like some sort of death spasm in the body. It's shuddering slightly. You see, as if by muscle contortion and spasm, the jaw is slightly, very, very slightly opening before rigor mortis pulls it back shut. To you, your eyes blur a little bit as the corpse sits up and turns to face you. It doesn't say anything. It just stares there regarding you and waits your question.
Well, pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I think that the most important thing to know, first of all, is I think we're going to go with the full name of the body, including any aliases or nicknames.
In life, I was known... You see that they're coughing water out of their lungs. In life, I was known as Leonard Grimes. To family, when they were amongst the living, I was Leo. To my fellow dispossessed, Grimy. And with that, the corpse lays back down into repose, and your eyes blur again as you go back to seeing the collectively accepted reality. So, would you like that name typed out in the chat, or?
Yes, please.
Okay. So,
You gonna forget Grimy? Never.
Oh, damn it, I was muted. I made a funny voice and
oh
everything.
no!
I was like, don't forget old Grammy. um, but
Never
yeah,
forget
so yes, Grimy to his fellow dispossessed, Leo to his family. Leonard Grimes. All right. So Xenobia will lean back into Parrot's arms and give them a big smile and be like, "Oh, thank you, excellent assistance."
All right. Oh, thank you, him. So, for Brigitta, the result of your search roll, you're not able to glean too much. Are you? You said you were just looking at. I think it was the ladder.
Yeah. Oh wait, I was looking at the ladder. I got so
Yeah,
confused.
I was
there.
looking at the roof. Sorry,
The roof.
it was muted.
It's pretty hard to tell with the roof. Most of the snow is off the central area of the roof because of how much heat the building produces has melted away. There's a little bit that has stayed more resistant to the thaw that's around some of the exposed metal, like the supports for the tanks and the rim of the rooftop. But you don't immediately see any obvious signs of trespassers or really visitors at all before you. On a 7, examining the ladder, you notice that there is there's some slight denting in the ladder rungs, as if something heavy just loosely swung into it. It looks like some of the paint on the metal has also chipped off, and it doesn't look particularly old from wear and tear, so if you had to guess, this body was probably dead before it got here, or at the very least dead before it got to the ladder. Then, on a 29 August, phenomenal rolls here.
He just saw it happen.
So
Oh yeah, I was there. I was blowing the guy who owns the hotel, and I saw it through the window.
Oh no.
Magic.
So on a 29, you and Abby are. This is a surprisingly well-oiled machine the two of you have. To the average onlooker, you in this moment would probably seem more like a particularly peculiarly dressed Pinkerton or some sort of other detective rather than a priest or a prostitute or a priestitute. So, with a 29, you notice that there are still some tracks in the residual snow on the building here. Specifically, though, the tracks, because of what has thawed, can only be found in a couple of places. Off to one side of the roof, there is a long length of short pieces of metal held together by long, heat-resistant cord. This seems to be a ladder. You can see on the side of it, there's a company of Hardell's fire ladders. It's a relatively recent invention, and only big cities would likely have the laws in place to require this sort of fire escape device to be installed. But this fire ladder, you see at the foot of the ladder, where it hangs over the lip of the wall, there is a couple of heavy boot prints that look to be coming off of the ladder onto the roof. And you can see there's also the drag marks in the snow that, from the spacing and the size, you would probably imagine could be created by, say, a body being dragged through. You see, similarly, there's a little bit of overlap with the boot prints, as if the person came up from the ladder and also left via the ladder. However, the ladder itself is wrapped back up as if it hadn't been used at all. You see, and I think this is probably Abby who is the first to notice it. Abby picks up some unusual scent here, and as you look closer at what she's sniffing at, there is a whole cluster of very tiny little tracks. They look more like paws than feet. If you had to guess, something perhaps like a rat. You see an awful lot of rat tracks. And similarly, you see some of those same sized paw prints. You see roughly similar looking scratch marks on the mechanism holding the ladder up and coiled around. It sounds sort of absurd when you think about it in the abstract, but from your understanding of what's going on up here and what you've seen, it would seem that either someone used the elevator and was able to get close enough to the ladder to unfurl it down to the ground for someone else to lift up a body. But if that was the case, they would have had to do so somehow without leaving any tracks in the snow of their own. You only see the one pattern of the boot print going from the ladder and back to it. The other explanation seems to be that something like, or perhaps even simply rats themselves, some sort of small vermin, got up to the roof and unlatched the ladder to let it fall down. And that is what you get on a 29.
Holy crap.
That was a lot.
Guys, it's a were rat.
I mean, a 29 is a lot in a system
Oh, I'm aware. I was just,
that
it was
expects like
information to take in.
11
Right.
and 13 as a high roll.
Like, the holy crap was partially due to the result and partially due to the 29 itself.
All right, so is there anything further people would like to do while you're up here?
I'd like to make sure that I'm able to share the information, just that it's stated with at least who isn't up on the ladder or hanging on to someone.
Let's see. Well, Brigitta is patrolling around here. Min is also off to the side.
Okay, so I'd probably call over Min and Brigitte to come look at what was found.
Okay. Maybe we'll come over at that.
And then just fill them in on everything that was said. That was a lot. That was a lot. But I agree with Parrot on where rats.
It's quite possible, I suppose.
Okay. You know this is hard to take in, right?
Is that to August?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot. August is just gonna be staring and nodding slowly because I was kind of thinking the same thing with Parrot on the werewolf when you mentioned all the feet. That's exactly where my mind went.
I don't like this.
He's gonna look to Brigitta for some illumination on the so anything from Brigitta to help debunk where rats.
I don't know anything, but having not ever really experienced anything like what Xenobia did just now, I mean, I guess anything is possible now?
Oh yeah, like I should say that anyone who I'll say that because I think Parrot would probably be the only one close enough to potentially have seen this. If you would like Parrot to have seen this, or at least try to have seen this, because it doesn't seem like Xenobia was being particularly hidden, but the body itself made no noise to anyone except Xenobia.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah, so
Ignore what I
It
just said.
kind of shuddered a little bit, right?
mm-hmm.
I thought we were getting called over to look at the rat and stuff. The rat stuff.
I don't really know anything about rats.
I imagine we're off the ladder now, right?
Yeah, we can. I've got nothing else to. Yeah, Zenobia wiping off her hand on her pant leg.
I thought you were gonna do it on Parrot.
Oh yeah, that's actually better. You're poor.
Yeah, that's more
No.
engagement. Wipe it off on one of us.
Yes.
Oh,
Zenobia just wiping the corpse juice off on Parrot and go, "Oh, thank you, dearest."
So, what do we do now?
Well, I have good news, everyone.
Yes?
You have a
I
very
can-
large rat trap.
Well, I guess anything could be a sufficiently large rat trap if you put your mind to it. But no. Aside from that, I would like to report that due to some of my own amateur sleuthing, that I have been able to identify who our wayward corpse belongs to.
Yes?
Is likely somebody with connections to the perhaps the less fortunate members of this city, the proletariat. Goes by the name, his name is given by whatever church that he probably adheres to, is Leonard Grimes. Although I believe that he actually is a bit more torrid in his particular inclinations, which is why he also goes by a few other aliases. I happen to think he's a proper grimy, if you catch my drift.
I'm not catching your drift. What does that mean?
It means, of course, that I believe that is what would be probably the most common name that somebody with limited education and even more limited financial capabilities could apply to someone.
I'm sorry?
Okay, let me put this in simple terms for you. The deceased male is named Leonard Grimes.
I'm not stupid. I understood that part.
I
Yes.
didn't know if it was lost in translation.
Are you
I
saying
am
you think he's a
fluent.
criminal?
Perhaps not a common criminal, but at least a victim of the capitalist enterprises that he has assailed himself with.
We should definitely report this.
Yeah, who's gonna tell Travis? Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
I could tell Travis that there happens to be a corpse of a dispossessed, lounging languidly and a bit bloatedly, but, that happens to the best of us, in one of his water towers.
Make sure you tell him we didn't do it.
I didn't find it.
I will specifically annotate that none of you happened to kill him.
All right, I'm going to now take a. I assume we don't need this, and I gesture my gun, and I just start dismantling it and putting him back in my backpack.
Good idea.
Not unless the corpse were to just rise up and attack us, but what are the odds of that happening?
Look slowly over at the corpse.
I'm gonna start walking towards the lift.
Yeah, let's go get our boy.
Perhaps it might be a bit savvy if we were to have somebody to at least monitor it to make sure whatever ne'er-do-well placed it here upon our discovery doesn't relocate it.
I think that's probably. I mean, if someone put it there to begin with, it's not likely that they're going to try to move it.
Xenobia will stride towards Brigitta and get right up in her face and look
She's
up
gonna
at her
take
with
a step backwards.
look at her with a big grin and be like, "Oh, you sweet little thing! If only you knew that perhaps the application such things could have. I know if I happen to find a group of intrepid investigators assailing my slain adversary, I would, of course, perhaps take actions in the contrary. Cover up my tracks, if you will."
I
What
look
if one
around.
of us is
What
guarding
tracks?
the body and he comes and kills us?
Well, then I would have to say I have misplaced my faith.
I think it's probably safest for us to stick together.
Can't we just yell for Travis?
What,
I-
is that the name of the man? What's
Yeah.
the assistant man?
That's
Is that
Travis.
Travis?
One of the
Oh.
assistants
Our
is
babysitter.
Travis, at least.
Yeah. We should also talk to the big man. What was his name?
Hank McClellan.
Right. McClellan fellow.
All right, but I'm just saying, if somebody were to apprehend this perfectly good corpse and we come here looking quite silly, that's on you.
Fine, I'll watch the dead guy.
I still don't think we should split apart.
Perhaps you should keep keep Parrot company.
I will keep Parrot company. I don't want to be seen.
See, two heads are better than one.
You talk too much.
I mean,
I must simply grace the air with my beautiful painting of tapestry of words.
I wouldn't mind staying behind.
All right.
Me and Abby can stay back.
Well, Brigitta, do you think you can protect me if any, perhaps rapscallions come after little old me?
No? No, go.
And Xenobia will stride behind her, heading to the boss man.
Brigitta just gets hotter and hotter.
So, as you approach the elevator again, you're calling down for Travis, I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he should be nearby, I think.
Yeah.
He was supposed to come with us, and we forced him to like let us go alone, and so
Yeah,
he's
because-
probably just like on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
So, yes, you are able to do that fairly easily. You hear the rumbling of the elevator mechanism as it makes its trip up one further floor than where it was previously, and the door is slid open and Travis is there. All right. Are you quite finished, or?
We found a corpse.
Finished with barely even begun.
I'm sorry. What?
There's a corpse in one of the water towers.
Oh. Oh, I need to inform Mr. McClellan immediately.
Yes. We're coming
Fly
with
on-
you.
Fly on Apollo's wings.
All right. So you take the elevator down with him, and he is going to rush as quickly as he can manage to Hank McClellan's office.
I'll keep pace.
Okay. So he knocks on the door very urgently. Sir, there's something very important that you need to hear right now. And the door opens. Yes, Travis, that's quite all right. Now, what exactly is it that is going on here?
We found a corpse.
Oh, well, that is certainly unpleasant news. Okay, right. Well, I would suggest leaving it where you found it, and I am going to contact the authorities to have them over as quickly as possible.
It was in one of the water towers on the roof.
One of the water towers. That seems odd, but I...
Do you often have vagrants frequenting the roofs of your establishment?
No, that's actually what has me so puzzled. I don't really have anyone up there. In fact, the only way up there would be, I suppose there certainly are other things that connect the main body of the building to the roof, such as the water pipes, the ventilation ducts, but by and large, the only way that a person could get up there would be through the elevator, and that doesn't seem possible. you would need both of the keys to get up there.
Well, are there any alternative access points? Ladder, for instance?
Oh, we follow the fire code required by the city, and we do have a fire ladder on the roof, but that's locked into place. You would have to be able to pull the release lever at the point on the roof in order to get down. You couldn't have the ladder extended from the ground to get up there.
Intriguing, intriguing. An enigma truly wrapped in a mystery.
At this point, Travis has already been dispatched to telegram the sheriff's office.
Has your establishment come into contact with an individual known as Leonard Grimes?
Leonard Grimes.
Perhaps known as Grimy?
I can't say that I've heard the name before.
Then this is indeed a perplexing situation we found ourselves in.
I don't have a good explanation for it, but from the clues that we followed, it seems like something was accessing the water network, and that's what led us to the water towers on the roof.
Oh. Let me just check the elevator logs. As you know, I prefer to keep a tight eye on the activities of the employee, and one such manner that we do that here, he pulls open a cupboard, is through the lift logs. In order to use one of the lifts in the employees only section of the building, you would have to have both the lift key, he holds a little pressed metal key, but also the punch card to register it. Holds this little sheet of stiff paper with these holes in it. The internal clock within the system is what registers when someone is using the elevator. It detects the presence of the punch card, and through that, it would give a exact time and date of when it was last used. So let's see. All right, here we are. Roof access lift. Last used today. That of course tracks. Prior to that, according to our records, the last time that this was used before that was in November 2nd, 1875.
What's the date now?
I believe it's still pretty early March. I want to say
Okay.
it was like March 14th or so. Maybe even probably closer to March 9th, I would say.
Well, I can propose then two potential theories. One is somebody decided to use your little contraption without authorization and without log. And option two is somebody was able to access the roof in a means that has not currently been envisioned. Perhaps a second story man or something.
Suppose that certainly doesn't inspire confidence, regardless, but I suppose those are certainly possibilities I must now consider. as he sort of pauses a little thoughtfully. Is there anything else you wanted to ask or discuss in the couple of minutes it will take before the police arrive down here?
Not that I can think of.
I do have one thing.
Hmm?
I don't remember what company was called. But the by chance, where have you had any previous issues with your meat procurement? We were down inside of the lower levels, and we noticed, well, the state of the freezer was a little bit in disrepair.
Me? Well,
Right.
we've had reports from I believe it was Peter Tolles. I think that's the most consistent boiler man we have on staff. Had reports of strange meat activity, but given his history and tendency to have flights of fancy, we haven't really thought much of it. Beyond that, I suppose most of the butchers that we use are locally sourced here in Chicago. This is, after all, quite a center for the meat packing industry. I don't see particular much reason to try to reach beyond that if it works for so many involved.
Well, in our inquiries down there, we are of course a bit inspired by old Peter, but in our own personal observations, we noticed that one of your meat containers, one of your meat refrigerators, had been chewed through. I think that this may come a bit of a shock to you, but yes, and that it spoiled the whole lot, as well as there was an access pipe there that appeared to have been tampered with.
Hey. And in your positions as professional freelance investigators, what would you say in my position that I should make of this? Is this something to simply have repaired? Is there something further to investigate I should be looking into? What insights do you have here?
From what we were able to gather, because this all seems to be connected to the rooms that have had strange occurrences happen in them, right? All of those rooms were connected to the same water line. So, there's definitely more investigating to be had. Because we still don't know what has been doing this. It does not feel normal to me.
Well, you've already uncovered quite a bit of results here. I would say that you would be chief on the case here. If I can expect anyone to further these results, I would have to imagine it would be you. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to tell the authorities when they arrive here, but
I have a question, B, because
Yes.
I don't remember it. What was the name of that meat packing plant for the shoot through one?
Oh, let's see. I'm not I'm not sure if I remember giving it a name.
I do believe you did.
Hmm.
Give it a new one.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been a while, so I did not rewatch the episode before tonight.
Hmm.
What are the viewers gonna do?
I
Cancel
know.
our show?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I suppose if I need to provide a name right now, let's go with Lillards.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought it was on the container in some way when we were down there. But yes, could you please also bring in any of the procurement history you have with this Lallard's butchery or meat packery or whatever establishment you get it from, and we'd be able to follow it up a bit from there.
Of course, I first need to speak with the authorities when they get here. I must admit, I have not always had the most favorable experiences with the constabulary here in Chicago, but I think I can still hold my own well enough for taking care of this. I will endeavor as soon as I can to have these records for you.
Excellent, excellent. I believe that we need to reconvene with our fellow investigators while this is being dealt with.
Right? Yeah, so he's going to be waiting down here to speak with the authorities when they arrive. Jumping back up for a moment, is there anything that you are looking to do or to talk about while it is just... Let's see, I believe... no, actually, I believe that's 3 of you up there now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everybody but Brigitta and me.
Alright, so is there anything that the 3 of you wanted to be talking about or doing while you were up there? That's fine. Just need to
August is
ask.
just kind of softly saying a prayer for the departed
Hmm.
while Abby stares at
Wasn't
Parrot.
able to figure out his name after he's been soaking in that for so long, but like
Is
not
that...
enough where I'd be making questions.
So that's not a curiosity you're vocalizing?
I might go, how did she know? But
Are you asking rhetorically
let
aloud?
me flip a coin. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. So as she's leaving, after the elevator goes down, Min's like, how did she figure out his name?
I mean, she just kind of leaned over and the corpse like burped or something. I don't
That
know.
wouldn't give her a name.
I don't know. Maybe it's a new
Maybe
kind of science.
August
This
is
is no
gonna
science.
look up at them.
Not a corpse
Abby's-
detector.
Min's going to
You
go
ask for
back up
yourself.
and take a stick and poke at the dead body a little to see if I can see if there's like a name tag or something on there.
Okay.
Like, Min's a little bit perturbed because, like, Min's not dumb, but she doesn't like being treated like she's dumb.
Hmm.
just, some people use big words that she is not as familiar with, being English not her second English as her second language. So yeah, I'm just gonna poke the corpse with a stick.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, you can try and sort of flip the corpse over. Externally, they're just wearing a lot of heavy layers. Something that I suppose you might be able to intuit. Oh, they're wearing a lot of heavy layers. The layers don't look to be particularly well maintained. Looks like perhaps someone who doesn't really have a reliable, stable home to go to. But beyond that, you're sort of at a loss to explain where she would have gotten the name from.
He talks too much.
Yeah.
All right. So, Travis is going to come back up to allow you to leave, though he does ask along the way if there is anyone who can give the authorities a statement when they arrive about what was found.
I am as soon as the police are anywhere nearby and Min's aware, Min is going to hide.
Travis just looks to the rest of you. All right, so it's clearly not them.
Well, who would possibly, distrust the word of a priest? Isn't that right? Hombre? Gesturing to August.
All right, what do you say?
Hello? Is
Hello?
my mic on?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
I've been talking.
Oh no!
Oh, you've been muted literally for like the last
45
hour.
minutes!
Oh no!
Did you think it was weird? Nobody was responding?
Nobody wanted to respond to me. I don't know. I have a 10-year-old.
Oh,
I just reflected it on. It's okay. Oh,
Never.
I was
ignoring
trying to fix the mic. My apologies. Oh, can you repeat the last thing you said? I just re-put on my
Oh.
headphones and heard August.
I
Oh,
said,
I'm sorry.
I
It's
said,
okay.
surely they wouldn't doubt the word of a priest. Isn't that right, hombre? To August.
Now have you come back? Sorry, I was reconnecting
Yes,
everything.
we all came back.
Oh, we're intervened. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Who am I going to have to talk to? I'm so
The
sorry. I
police.
was
literally the police.
Oh no. Oh god.
Over the body we found.
So
Oh,
I
God.
I will say, they technically can't, like the hotel staff at least, technically can't force you to make a statement. However, the police very well may ask for one, and if you're trying to look not guilty, like you really were just happening upon it, it's probably not the best idea to have no statement to give them.
Min's going to hide in the room.
Did Parrot also have a gun on them? I'm just trying to remember who has
Yes.
guns.
I thought I left my gun in the room.
I didn't
Yeah.
know who brought the gun.
Oh,
to-
I
was
had
the only one, I
handed
think.
I handed my gun to Parrot if she had
Oh.
wanted it, but I don't think she wanted it, so I ended up putting it away while we were me, Min, and Parrot well, Min was poking the body, and then I realized no one could hear me.
Okay,
If,
so
if we knew we had guns, we have hid them.
yes, I was gonna say, I was like, it
Yeah.
should definitely apply that before the police arrive. Definitely should sequester any firearms you may have.
Like, August is gonna take a deep sigh and look up, silently praying to the Lord, and then nod and agree. Agree
Alright.
with him giving the testament.
Oh, delightful! I'm sure it'll be a regular sermon on the Mount.
Alright. So I am not necessarily going to require any sort of roll out of this. And partially simply because, like, we already spent a fair amount of time on this. We can move on to. But I would like at least a broad overview of what you're telling the police officers when they arrive, and if there is anything that you're including, leaving out, changing, if there's something like a particular delivery that you want to make sure this is how it is said, I can take
Someone-
those now.
Remind me why we're on the roof.
Because when we had analyzed the blueprints of the building, I had surmised that all of the water lines that connected all of the rooms that had been broken into or had something changed or moved or something weird happen in connected to the same water line. And so we were
Gotcha.
checking out the water tower for it.
I suspected that was it, but didn't like fully remember. I mean, Parrot would probably give like the basic information, like that explanation of why we were here. We noticed some weird scuffs and checked the tank.
Okay.
Not gonna mention were rats as much as I want to.
Hey, that's fair.
We don't talk about rats with cops.
Alright, let me just... Okay. The cop doesn't seem to make any obvious emotional response to what you tell them, but they don't look overtly suspicious. They don't seem to be particularly under the assumption that it could be you. As a collective, I should say. Alright, is there anything else you'd like said or not said?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
I'm not here. Don't look at me.
Alright. Then, yes, the police having recorded your official statement, one of the officers makes a passing mention of, please make sure to stay within the city as a whole, where we can contact you if we're in need of further information. And otherwise, you're able to go about your day as you please.
Once the police have gone, I will turn to the assembled people and be like, "So I have an idea."
Yes?
Lay it on us.
Also,
So
it
I
looks
have
like
reason to
Geronimo.
believe
Before we
that-
continue,
Sorry.
Oh.
looks like Geronimo's still having a little bit of mic trouble. He said that August would clear his throat with trusted Abby by his side and tell the man of the law how she picked up the foul smell and led to the discovery. Duly noted. All right, you may continue.
Okay. So, I believe that there is perhaps a convergence of fate amidst right here, and that our potential ne'er-do-well might be available in particular places that are not as frequented by good company. This Mr. Grimy perhaps has friends, associates, or even some bit of a, reputation abroad in the city, and so perhaps we could lend our services to delving a little deeper into the sordid underworld of this little city.
Times I wish I was here when I'm not.
Oh, well, this is after the police.
Yeah,
have
this is
left,
for
so-
everybody when
Okay.
the cops.
I
left.
didn't know if this was immediately after or after, and we've all reconvened.
Yes, this is after, at which point you can have reconvened.
Okay. In English,
We are going to find the origin tale of Mr. Leonard Grimes.
okay. How
Alright.
did you find his name?
Oh, you know, if you've been as many places I have, you pick up a few things.
Yeah, so do I, and I couldn't find his name on his body.
Oh, there are more things in heaven and earth, Mingwa, that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
I don't like how you're speaking to me.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is how I always speak.
I mean, she isn't lying when she says that.
Now, enough with the nitty-gritty of the details. I think it's time we find the greater tales.
Minhuffs. Burgers.
Alright.
Do
So-
any of you know how to find and or talk to poor people?
I'm not answering that one.
I guess I do.
Excellent, excellent. Well, then I would hope that with a bit of my tactical guidance, you could perhaps be the vanguard upon this endeavor.
August sighs and says some tales are better left untold.
Unfortunately, dead men tell no tales, which is why we must put together the story on our own.
Alright.
And Zenobia's gonna bend down onto the ground, like kind of squat on the ground and gesture everybody to get onto her level.
Dude bends over slightly.
And she will take out her knife and is going to just draw some incomprehensible things with it. What she's actually drawing is irrelevant. It's what she's trying to draw. As she says, all right, so I've pieced together a few potential leads for us on this. For one, I happen to believe that this gentleman was perhaps a less fortunate character, one of the many dispossessed who may happen to find themselves in current or previous residence into the subway system. Now, we also know the subway system is currently being constructed, operated on, and expanded, and that's causing a bit of displacement. I also have reason to believe that perhaps that man went from down there up here, and we know that there is indeed a connection with tunnels and mischief. Therefore, perhaps we can find our leads down there, and our trusted woman of the people can be able to communicate with the locals.
Do we know that it is connected?
Oh,
Or
well, I can
do we
assure you,
assume?
all threads can come together when properly aligned.
I mean, rats, sewers, criminals. They all kind of go together in a little idea stew.
Now, I don't know about what kind of stew of ideas you may have boiling inside your little crockpot of a head, but I happen to think that at least one ingredient here should be perhaps our rancid meat.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to make an area knowledge roll for Chicago, or if you can find people to speak to, you can also try and either roleplay it out or try and make a streetwise roll. So
I could try to do an area knowledge, but it's just going to end up being knowledge -4.
let's see. August
Yeah, none of
holds
us are
his
from
side
Chicago.
before following suit and bending over. Speaking of stew, do you think we ate the meat the night before?
Oh, I don't want to think about that. I also
Mhm.
want another shower.
But the water system is contaminated.
So I got a -1. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to try to talk with anyone or to make any rolls to...
I could try a knowledge roll, was it?
Does
Mhm.
anyone have streetwise?
Streetwise, no.
Does our charisma priest have streetwise?
But general knowledge
Oh!
is something I'm good at.
She read a few things about Chicago.
I did research
She
this
has
place before
done her
coming.
research.
Fair.
I have a tiny bit of streetwise.
What are you doing?
Alright.
Put a baby gate up, I swear to God. He's figured out how to open doors.
He's evolving. He's like a raptor.
He's evolving, but he puts one
Streetwise.
hand on the door he's trying to open and then tries to open it still.
It's in smarts.
My 40-pound pit bull can't even open a cracked door.
Oh, sweetheart.
To Galaxy Brain.
Alright. So with a 16 for area knowledge, just in general.
This would be
Uh,
-4, so a 5 for knowledge from me.
Let's see. I would say you could potentially find information about the underground of Chicago and its history at the library.
Somewhere we've already been. No, we went to the archive.
Yeah, we went to the city records.
Yes, those can give you like schematics, but not necessarily the story behind any of those schematics, you know? All I know is hotel owner is a man. Hey, that's alright, August. We're fully embracing our himbos in this family. Alright, so you can think of the library for learning more about what is going on here. You can potentially try and go back to the city records if you want just to again look at any kind of blueprints that they have on file. You you might also think for area knowledge that, well, a lot of dispossessed people seem to be using the railway system state by state to get around. You might be able to find decent-sized grouping of them near the railway junctions of the station nearby. Yeah, I would say those are the ideas that you're able to get just off the bat there.
Not sure that more investigation of like the history is going to be helpful. But
I'd say we
if
just
we
should go down there.
yes, that's what I was going to say. If we think that's where we're going to find more information, that's where we should go.
Well then, Excelsior! Let's proceed forward.
Alright.
I guess we're heading into the subway,
That works.
looking for the dispossessed.
Alright, so I believe that the closest of the access points for the Chicago Underground is going to be probably going to be the it's probably still going to be near the rail yard. Are you going on your own? Are you trying to find like a rail car that you can ride, or are you like taking anything in particular here? Are you making any plans like that?
I think we probably would go on our own. That's my assumption.
Probably grab a lantern.
Oh yeah, I'll go back to the room and grab whatever supplies I need to see in the dark. I have lots of that.
All right.
Yeah, I want my gun.
That's valid.
I would just be cautious that should not be discovered with that as we are near the greater rail system.
Yeah.
All right. So then, you're heading into the rail tunnels. As you get to the station, you can see that there's the hustle and bustle of the coming and going of the trains and all the passengers, people bringing on and taking off cargo. You can also see a little further off there is a series of older rail cars that aren't on actively used routes. They seem to be sort of left out to pasture, as it were. There's a fair number of people gathered around there. You can faintly hear what sounds like a bell going off, not like a train bell, more like a church bell in that general area. Off to another side, you can see, not directly connected to the main lines, the city underground isn't ready for that yet, but still fairly close by. You can see the tracks are almost ready to be connected to the main lines. There is there's the pathway that leads down into the underground. There doesn't seem to be anyone actively looking after it. I mean, it's still set up so that no one is or should be able to at least directly access it via train. There's not really a fence out there, but you do see there is what looks to be a small building set up for people who are working within the tunnels themselves. Diggers, bricklayers, all manner of infrastructural construction workers. You can see there's sort of, there's no one really there at the moment, but they'll probably be coming out relatively soon. Some of them might have already even come out. It likely at this point is around afternoon, so they might be on break. This might be a day off. You don't really see too many people lingering outside that building, though. And you know what? Yeah, I think that's about all I'll tell you at the moment.
I'm sorry, when you said that there were like the non-functioning cars or whatever, would the people gather around that? Were they like the dispossessed people, or were they just people?
It's sort of hard to tell. There's a surprisingly large crowd around the car that you could hear the bell from, but there seems to be sort of a mix. There's definitely a fair number of people that look like how you would perceive someone who lives on the streets to look, but there's also a couple of people that are sort of better dressed, a little more put together. They seem kind of like there's some people that just choose to come to this part of town, or more specifically, even potentially this area. All in all, I should say, if you're focusing more there, there is in total 7 old passenger cars strung together on that abandoned stretch of track.
I'll look at Parrot and be like, "Well, I believe we have arrived amongst your people. Perhaps inquire as to whether they know Mr. Grimy, and perhaps we can learn some details about him. I trust that you are a diplomat, an ambassador to this our fair little collective."
I mean, I can tell when somebody's poor. I don't know if I can
Your
get them to
people,
tell me who
Lord
Grimy was.
Jesus.
Well, then you could bring the Padre. Perhaps he'll be able to, open up their sins amongst other things, loosen their tongues. Sure, he knows plenty about that.
I don't know if these people are very excited about the possibility of getting preached to.
You hear again the church bell coming from one of the cars.
I mean, if none of you are going to look at it, I will.
We could try that one.
Yeah. Min's already heading over.
Alright.
Son, please stop.
So, as you approach, you can...
Get out of there! I'm sorry, guys. Hold on.
Someday, my partner will learn the beauty of the mute button.
Yeah, please.
Oh, I'm away from the computer right now because I had to get the cat out.
Isn't there a mute button on the microphone?
I'm having my headphones. I don't know where it is on here. Okay, I'm back. He's yelling at me now.
Oh well.
Yeah. Bitch, this is what happens.
August is standing beside Parrot and imitates Xenobia before whispering to her, maybe she needs to cool off with more soup.
Parrot barely hides a chuckle.
Barely.
So as you approach this train car, you see there's a handmade sign painted and hung above the entryway. It is the Church of the Traveler, it advertises. And you can hear someone inside it. It sounds like from the choruses of amens and hoots and hollers that a particularly vibrant sermon has just wrapped up. And people start coming out, and you can see there's one man rather flashily dressed, but still in a priest's collar, speaking with a few members of the congregation as people are starting to head back out. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Like, if there's a chance that Leonard went here, whoever is, like, giving sermons would know him, but I have nothing to go on of Leonard being religious.
It's up to y'all.
Why not just go in and wait for the sermon to finish?
It just finished.
Oh, I mean, they're still in there. They're still worshiping.
Alright.
Well, the priest just came out, didn't he?
Yeah, he's like...
Oh, never mind that.
He's sort of lingering around the entryway. At this point, he's talking with a few members of... Doesn't really strike you as a parish, but a few members of his improvised congregation. He's certainly not dressed like a priest. He doesn't dress particularly to show off himself, I would say, so not quite doesn't dress like a priest in the way that August doesn't dress like a priest. But more in this, I know you're still a priest, but more in the sense of he has a very casual, very sort of day-to-day relaxed style to him. He's still got his vestment collar on, but beyond that, it's very relaxed vibes.
Parrot will go up when he's, like, not speaking with people specifically.
You hear him finishing up a conversation. Oh, well, that's just swell, Mickey, let me tell you. One of these days, your horse is gonna come in. And when that horse comes in, you can ride it all the way till the cows come home. And when those cows come home, let me tell you, it's gonna be a fine day on the ranch for you. Alright, I'll see you next week. Take care, you son of a gun. Oh, hello, miss. He doffs his hat real quickly. And just what can I do for you? You're looking to be saved? You're looking to have a good time with a great fella? Not me, of course, the Lord.
You know Leonard Grimes.
Leonard Grimes. Oh, the name does sound familiar.
Grimey? Leo?
I think I've heard of a fellow by that nickname. Yes, I do believe I may have seen this Mr. Grimes coming by now and then. Oh, the last time would have been... I think the last I heard folks talking with him was 2 weeks ago, maybe?
He's dead.
Oh. Well. I suppose that's the luck of the draw these days, isn't it? He doffs his hat again, but sadly this time.
We're trying to find out more about him.
Well, if there's anything I can help with, I'll certainly try. Well, let's see, what is there to say about Mr. Grimes there?
Is there
Had something
anyone
awful of a
he-
nickname, I'll tell you that much right off the bat. I know I'm not one to talk, being a former man of vice and gambling who goes by Lucky, but it seems a bit of a different connotation with Mr. Grimes. I'm sorry, what was it you were saying there, little lady? He says, looking up at the taller parrot.
Is there anyone that he tends to come by with often?
Well, he used to come fairly reliably. A lot of the folks who are down on their luck, really out there breaking their backs at the pony races every day of life, trying to just make their way in this world, they tend to come by here for a little smooth talking of the words of the good Lord. We're not exactly a traditional church here. We're very non-denominational, so plenty of folks feel comfortable sharing their faith and such around here, but it seems to be a good community for folks. They get a lot out of it. Certainly feels like Lady Luck smiles on me when I'm serving the flock here, but he mostly spend his time. Last few sermons I saw him at, trying to get right financially speaking. He was a little worse off than usual. He had started, I believe he had started taking work, helping out with some of the less skilled labor, in as much as the rail workers need for their little subterranean railway over there. I don't suppose I can. I don't suppose I can interest any of you in stopping around here to eat some of the victuals and participate in some of the prayers.
No, thank you.
Can't blame a fella for
Really
trying.
well
Gotta play the odds.
Well,
You
thank
are
you.
still into gambling, aren't you?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, sir. It doesn't matter what manner of game you're participating in. When it comes to the Lord, he's always a safe bet. He says with a wink. As far as I reckon, though, what did Grimy look like before he became Grimy? As far as I can recall, though, Leonard was a decent enough sort. Particularly hard-pressed, but then again, many folks are these days. He had been looking for work, going job to job in the subterranean railway, and from the sounds of it, he had actually come on a stroke of good luck recently. Mentioned something about some folks he had met on the job being able to offer some real swell work. Didn't really share much details, but then again, sometimes you gotta play your cards close to the chest.
You know what job he was working at?
I can't say that I know the specifics, only that he mentioned having learned about the job from some of the other folks what working in the construction of the underground. I don't know what position he filled working in the underground, but well, I would imagine practically anyone who can carry heavy tools of industry is more than enough to get a job down there.
That's fair. Do you know any of their names?
Well, I do know a fair few, I would say. Actually, a lot of the rail railroad employees that are more frequently based out of this part of the country, they tend to treat me as sort of a unofficial church away from church, or Lord's home away from Lord's home, if you will. As far as specifics, though, well, I'm afraid that I serve quite I serve a congregation of quite a few different rail workers. But as far as I know, the rail workers tend to have a bit of a rift between them and folks what working on that subway line that they're talking about. Conditions apparently underground not as favorable to many employees, understandably, so they've hired all manner of scabs and more desperate folks like our dearly departed Mr. Grimes. So I'm afraid that with the high concentration of the folks I have here being good, loyal, true blue workers of the railroad lines, the those working on the subway rails don't find themselves to be feeling quite as at home, sadly, as I would like for all folks to be feeling here at the Church of the Traveler.
All right. So the tunnels seems to be further where we should be going.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish you luck. May the good lords train lanterns light your way down there, and whatever it is you're after, I hope it's a right grand slam of a time.
Oh, Father.
Yes?
If you could keep the detail of Leonard's death between us for now. We don't want to go scaring anyone. And she glares daggers at Min.
I suppose that's reasonable enough. I would prefer not to lie too much, since that is something that the good Lord don't take kindly to. But then again, most folks don't come around asking specifically for one individual member of my congregation, so I suppose the odds are plenty in your favor for that.
We're still getting some details, and we don't want to be causing a fuss.
Perfectly
It'd be more of a
understandable.
fuss if we kept it quiet.
We don't know who's involved.
well then. Was there anything else?
If you could point us to the people doing the hiring, if not, probably not too difficult to find.
Oh, I'm afraid, like I said, most of those folks don't find themselves feeling as welcome amongst the congregation here as I would like, so I'm afraid that I don't know many of them very well.
Well, thank
Can't
you.
we just go in the tunnels?
I mean, that's the plan.
No, I mean, like, do we need the people in charge?
Why would we need the people in charge?
Well, I
We'll
thought
just go in.
we wanted to talk to the people that he had spoken to before his death.
Maybe.
I mean,
Are
we can still look around the tunnels.
are you
No,
are
I
you
didn't
are
mean
you
look
folks
around the tunnels.
are you
I meant
folks
like
in
just
need
go
of
straight
me?
into the.
I can certainly answer more questions if you are, but it seems like you're just wrapping up here. I wanted to make sure.
I said thank you for your
You're good.
time, Jesus Christ.
Hey now! No need to take the Lord's name in vain like
I
that.
was out of character.
Very well. A lovely day to you, and happy trails. And yeah, Pastor Lucky Green heads out. Okay, so what would you like to do now? Are you heading in?
I just want to go straight into the tunnels.
Okay.
You want to debrief the rest of us on what was said?
I'll go tell everybody. As a man of the people.
So once learning what went down, seems that our dear little Minghua is quite getting the nose to the grindstone on this one. It seems the tunnels is where the path will lead us. Although I happen to suspect perhaps there is foul play afoot for whoever these high-paying, few question-asking employers were for Mr. Grimes. Perhaps they had something to do with his sudden deceasement.
Too soon to tell.
But I would advise you to be cautious and act as if they were.
Look, I doubt the priest had anything to do with it.
Oh, well, I never trust a man of the cloth. Frankly, they always seem to be selling something. That thing happens to have too many strings attached. However, I happen to think that whoever were the secret employers of Mr. Grimes while he was toiling under the subway are perhaps the true origin of his disappearance.
August
Nobody
says,
offers-
I only sell at night. Thank you.
Nobody offers you a
And
lot of
looks
money.
from Xenobia to August and back as Xenobia saying this.
And make that one thick string attached. Thank you.
Out of character. Hot damn.
So, if y'all are going to be entering this, I'm going to assume y'all are going to be lighting up the lanterns. I am going to ask who is leading the way. And I will also ask whoever is going to be leading the way to let's see. I suppose give me a cognition roll just to make
Can do
sure
that.
you're able to be aware of the path or paths ahead.
So that's an 18 to lead.
Okay.
Our fearless leader.
All right, then you take the lantern in hand and start leading the way down the tunnel. With a 18, you see that the tunnel looks to be... it doesn't quite look to be fully branching in the tracks that are being laid here, but there is a distinct split along the tracks. One pathway leads further towards the heart of Chicago. The other pathway stays fairly close to the train station. It sort of arcs off to a side, heading towards some of the buildings that are built nearby on the nearby. How many times can I say near? Nearby on the Chicago streets. Which pathway would you like to take?
Is there any right now that seem to be more trodden by animals than people?
Hmm. I would say...
Please don't die.
Sorry, I forgot to mute.
That's okay.
You're good. I always forget to mute.
Unfortunately.
You love me anyways.
I would say that it looks like the pathway that is heading more towards the heart of Chicago, that has quite a lot of hoof prints. You can see that it's likely that they're using donkeys, mules, maybe horses to pull some of the heavier equipment and the rail cars into the further lines.
Okay.
The other path is mainly, from what you can tell of the visible tracks, it's mainly human feet.
Okay. I'm probably going to go down the less trodden one.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to just let the 18 ride for a little bit here. So that was a pretty good result for this. Following the path along. At this point, it's probably getting into later afternoon. Following the path along, you see that there looks to be a little bit of a cave-in. There is some rubble that has been pushed off to the side, and the path's been worked around that. Can I get some people to do a search roll here if you would like more information?
I can do that.
2.
Hold on. My
Parrot.
feet is acting up, so give me a second.
A fellow
That's my
too.
best ever roll.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, a 12. Good job.
Nice.
A 9.
Okay.
And a 6.
All right. So I'll say that okay, this is going to be a case of a couple of things happen at once. So, as you are getting further and further in here, you eventually see that the light gets harder and harder to make any sense of as you're going through. There's scant details that you can desperately grasp at with your eyes, but you can see two things going on here. The path itself continues on normally, but on a 9, you notice that there's what looks to be partially covered up paths that go off to the sides here, forking off. It looks like they have since been covered up, but one goes off towards, I would say, probably the north. The other one goes off to further towards the street and the buildings already out there. And I would say on a 9, you're able to see that, yeah, you can kind of move some of this loose rubble and rock aside, and you see a path. On a 12, you not only see a path, but you also faintly hear something coming from the other side. Pressing your ear to, or craning your neck out, stretching and reaching as far as you can with your sense of hearing, you detect the faint sound of a person's voice. Would you like to try and get closer?
I think I'm gonna pull out my gun
Okay.
again.
Are you getting closer, or are you staying at your distance? This is to the party as a whole. Although
The rest of us know better.
I will say that this is Parrot who first notices this.
I'd probably like Parrot points to her ear and then in the general direction.
Are any of you perhaps skilled in subterfuge? Xenobia whispers to
I
the group.
will sneak over.
Okay. As you're heading down this path, clearing away more of the rubble so you can actually get in at it.
Do you want me to roll sneak now, or do you want me to wait on that?
Wait on it. I would say that it's sufficiently hidden from this angle, from the inside of this tunnel, that you can't really make details out.
Okay.
Which also means they can't either. You hear one voice and then a second shortly after. You're not able to make out too many words, but one of the voices is much louder, so you can make out a little more of that. The voice is saying, Well, if you're needing any, don't forget to tend the furnaces. So make sure to keep the light on. You're getting these patches of a conversation, but the voice does strike you as familiar. It is the voice of Old Pete.
Are we just getting close to the boiler room, maybe?
You get
Just a very long roundabout way?
closer still, and you can see that there is a small tunnel that leads off of this path. It like narrows down to a tiny little funnel point, and you can see through this little hole, now that you've cleared the path away, the faint flickering light of a distant furnace and little flashes and glimpses of what looks to be a storehouse. All right, well, I'll be heading up then. Take care down here. I'll see you in a few hours. You again get little faint snatches of that conversation. And I think then you hear another voice that you're probably most familiar with. All righty, Pete. I'll be seeing you late.
Vic. Alright, I'm gonna back out. It doesn't sound like... The fact that there's a tunnel here that's very tiny is a little concerning, but like, if it's just leading to somewhere we've been before, then I don't feel the need to, listen in on Victor.
As you turn to go, give me one more cognition roll.
Okay.
If this does not benefit from any vision effects.
I have no vision effects. Oh, I'm rolling good today.
Okay.
40-10 is sexy.
I mean, it is, but
So,
even getting a 15 off of 40-10 is lucky.
So as you turn back towards the tunnel to return to the rest of your group, you hear something. It's not the voices. It's not the faint roar of the boiler. It sounds like a tiny scratching noise. It sounds a little like the pitter-patter of tiny little feet.
Ew.
They sound close at first, but then they start to get a little more distant, as if they're further moving away from where you are.
I am going to stay still for a moment and listen in to see which direction it's coming from.
It's coming from the direction of the basement storerooms.
Okay. Since we know there's some issues with rats, I'm going to take it slow and quietly and try to make it back to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Sneak?
Sure. You can sneak if you want.
What is with these rolls tonight?
That is a very good sneak roll. Let me just make a...
17.
You're making up for every roll I have made up until now.
Okay,
Alright,
that's fair.
it looks like they have a fairly decent number of dice for this. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, you are able to tiptoe your way back to your group.
What did you find?
It's the storeroom. It's just old Pete and Vic and Timothy.
Right.
And rats. There is a tunnel, a very tiny tunnel, to that storeroom, and rats.
You sure it was rats?
Well, it's either that or very large mice.
What about ambulatory meat?
It sounded like scritches, like rodents. Ambulatory meat, I imagine, would be a lot more wet.
August says, do you think the rats have powers?
Doesn't answer that.
I. Where did the rat noises come from?
The tunnel leading to the storeroom.
Oh,
The
I
tunnel
should
was
say, that's where you heard it. It was
That's what I
coming
heard.
from inside the building.
Okay.
That's concerning.
Well,
At this point, should we just set rat traps and hope for the best?
it's not
I don't
very
think-
sporting.
I don't think rats are accidentally pulling down emergency ladders, if you know what I mean.
True.
All right. So, what's the plan? Or have you decided to live here now?
Well, there is the other tunnel, but it's hard to say. Like, this tunnel is lit out. Shoot. Drop laptop. Okay. This tunnel is just giving us a bit larger of a picture of where the rats are coming from that are going into the storeroom.
Free flow of access I can see between this tunnel network and our fair establishment.
Exactly.
Definitely establishes at least some exploratory inclinations. But
There's
with
not much. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, but with the things that have been disrupted, I would say, by the clientele, I would have to think that these rats either have a particularly domineering rat queen, or perhaps they might be either in cahoots or at the whims of some kind of human. We do happen to be the most nefarious and devious beings here.
I would like everyone to
Min
give me a
looks at you.
cognition roll right now.
Oh,
no.
no.
There's a 3 save.
Got 4.
Okay.
Parrot!
All right.
Wait a second. How did I roll a 14 cognition when I have 1d8?
It's
Oh,
you max the
explode.
die. If you roll an 8, you roll again and add it to it.
Oh,
That's how
Mhm.
Deadlands
okay.
works.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I
So,
was like, I don't know math, but that's bad math.
Parrot and August, as you are having this conversation, both of you distinctly hear, and I forget, I believe you might have heard Vic in passing before, but both of you distinctly hear. It's in the distance from where you are, but the sound of a panicked shout, and then shortly afterwards, an electric buzz, and then nothing.
I think we have to run.
What?
Pardon.
Somebody just screamed.
And
Where?
Timothy.
you would have known the direction as down the same tunnel that Min just returned from.
Well, we should go investigate, see what's in there.
Mis
should
amigos,
investigate right
either
now.
I am losing it or something's going on that we are not prepared to handle.
Where's your spirit of adventure? And
Prepared to handle anything.
Min, do you tell them
alright.
about the size of the tunnel, or...
Yes, I do.
So then y'all know that this is not a tunnel that any of you could fit through unless one of you can turn into a very small mouse or something and have been holding that secret.
All right, I unmake my gun again. I'm like, God damn it. We're going the long way.
How far away was the basically how far away was the area where Minghua saw the hole?
I would say it was about 20, probably 20 yards total. It took longer. It took a little longer because Min had to be cautious going down there, but all in all, fairly close by on the scale of railroad construction.
I would like to just, frolic over there for a bit with the lantern and try and look through the hole.
I'm gonna run the other way and go back to the hotel.
I'm gonna go with Brigitta.
As you go down there real quickly, you hustle your way down, you see the hole. You arrive in time to see this. You see the hole slowly being covered over by something. It looks almost like moss, but moss isn't generally red, and it usually doesn't have tufts of black hair in it either. That has grown over the hole.
Serious? Oh, that's certainly peculiar. She is
Name drop.
She's gonna take out her fucking dagger and take a sample.
As you stab the knife into it, it shudders, and you can feel the reverberation of a scream.
I feel like stabbing was a strong word, but
As you insert the sharp implement into this strange flesh moss, that is the response you get.
okay. I will pull back and go find my party.
All right. I assume everyone is. Where do all of you want to go, actually? I might as well just be very clear about that.
Back to the hotel to go to the boiler room.
Yeah.
And find our good friend Vic, probably not alive.
The holy water gives you again the moss sort of shudders. All right, I think then it's finally time. As you arrive back at the hotel, all of you, running as quickly as you can, on the way back there, are you all like running as fast as you can to get back there?
I am.
Min is.
Yeah.
All right, I would like y'all to roll me a quick. Let's go with a vigor to see how well you can keep up the pace, because it's relatively close by, but that's still a sprint.
That 40-12, baby.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. And I am going to roll to see how much wind y'all could have potentially lost. Okay. So
I do love the over-the-top academic, just fucking sprinting down here, and everyone else. Oh.
oh, that's her secret. Everyone thinks that she got there from her brain. No, she had a sports scholarship, turns out.
Women's cross country.
All right. Let's see. Everyone takes. Let's see. I think Brigitta, Xenobia, and Min take 2 wind. Parrot and August take 4 wind. Wind, for those of y'all who don't know or need a reminder, is sort of stamina. It's not injury-inducing health.
Is it 2 wind?
Yes.
Right.
As you arrive back in the hotel, the lobby is a commotion. The lighting has suddenly cut off. They're trying to rapidly get gaslight replacements up and running, but the electrical wiring that they had has fizzled out. And you can see that they're trying to solve the problems up here, but currently no one has gone down, or no one has been able to spare the time to go down into the basement. What do you do? Where are y'all going?
Go down into the basement.
Until now.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is exciting. I finally get to show the first map that I made for this.
Before we barge into the boiler room, I will again take out my gun and remake it.
You know what? Give me a quick deafness check.
Deafness.
Just
that
to make
is-
sure that you get all of the little gun parts where
11.
they are. Yeah, that's plenty. You get
Yeah.
you don't accidentally like drop the firing pin or what have you. All right, here we go. And let's All right. So, as a reminder, will say that you can all control your characters as normal. You can position yourself how you like. However, the chat will only be able to see where you move that little icon. Please make sure not to move too much just yet. So also, whoever wants to make sure the audience can see something, please make sure to move the little.
Gotcha.
So, coming down here, it is dark. Electric wiring has been damaged here as well. You can see from the sparks, though, that it looks like it has either been cut or from the smell of what smells like burning fur. I'd imagine. To your right, you can feel the intense heat and see the light peeking through of the furnace, and down the hall there is another door that is just slightly ajar.
Go down and see the door that's slightly ajar.
I'll give the rest of y'all a chance to move too, just in case.
I'm gonna position myself like about here and aim down sights.
Okay.
Maybe here.
Yeah, my gun is out.
I just have my trusty knife.
Xenobia doesn't need a gun. She is
The
a gun.
door. Well, since the door is pushed. Don't immediately see anything out of. Well, you might see something. I I will ask for anyone who wants to go further to please make a.
I am making a cognition check.
I have eyeball bonuses. Could I make a cognition check without going further?
Do you have bonuses for seeing at a distance?
Yes.
Yes, you can apply the.
Alright,
I got eagle eyes.
I'm gonna use a white chip and re-roll one of those.
That is a 9.
Oh, goddamn. Much better. An 11.
You hear sudden pause of movement and tension as pause slowly built around your. And then you see out of the corner of your eye little flashes of one. Lose count of how many of tiny pinpoints of light stare back at as you see the eye shines. Dozens of lights. Everyone, roll quickness.
Yeah, first combat!
Let's go.
Ah!
Quickness.
So anyway, I started blasting.
We'll see.
Started blasting.
So how does it work for cards? It's every 5 after a successful one or something?
So you have to at least hit. You have to not botch, and that's 1. Then
Okay.
1 at 5, 1 at 10, 1 at 15, so on.
Okay. So I got a 15.
So that's not a botch. 5, 10, 15, that's 4.
Okay. Herod, speedy.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing today, but
She's on fire.
crocheting made my character good.
Clearly, this is
He's
Heck yeah.
actually a decent character.
something you need to do more often.
Yeah, I just gotta keep my little rat hands busy.
Hey,
The vibes are good.
Poor choice of words.
I was going to say.
Oh, great choice of
No,
words.
That's the only choice of words, to be honest. They're rat hands.
all right. So that was 3 cards you said to Xenobia.
4 to Xenobia.
Okay. And how many to Brigitta? How many do you get?
I think 2, right? 7.
That's also and that would be 4 to... All right, and then I also draw a couple rats. Okay. All right, starting from the top, does anyone have... Oh, I can actually see some of these cards.
There's a setting that allows you to see all of them.
Yeah, but for some reason it doesn't tell me some of... I can't see yours or Xenobia.
I have a 10 of spades and a 6 of diamonds.
And anyone beat an ace?
Nope.
Okay. Then the rats go next. Oh, okay. Four, 5, 6. Seven. All right.
Perfect.
You hear scuttling in the dark as things you can't see. Okay, and Min, there's a whole swarm of rats that are gonna try and bite you.
Holy shit, okay.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe the nerve of them?
I know.
You should have said that earlier.
Alright, you need to know my fighting. It's 40-12.
All right. Yeah, the rats are nipping at your heels, but they are unable to find purchase. The swarm is still circling around and trying to find an easy way in, but they are not able to get purchase on you. So that is the rats. Does anyone have kings? Queen? I think we have at least one queen. Funnily enough, it's August. All right, August, you're up. What would you like to do?
It'd probably be better to communicate in Discord since there's no delay. I don't know how much of a delay B has for her stream.
I think Geronimo's still having trouble figuring out.
Yeah, I don't mean like talking, I mean typing in Discord. It's gonna further stall things out if you have the delay plus person typing.
I'd like to grab a bomb. Okay.
Oh god.
Are these the smoke bombs you were talking about? Or is there a different bomb?
This escalated.
Y'all.
Oh god. I would like to point out that we need to see our enemies.
The disorient ones, yes. Okay. So these
Okay, thank God.
these are the fireworks, the firecracker bombs, basically. I assume not like just straight up the smoke bomb or the fireworks ones.
Smoke bomb would not be helpful right now. Since we couldn't see anything.
All right. Do you want to move before throwing this? Because you should have, however much your pace is, that's how many squares that you can move for basically this whole round of combat.
Geronimo, if you do miss, I do have something that can get it further, and I'm not too much further down the line.
You seize the Pearl of Death on it.
Actually, there's a different one that I have that can do that.
Gotcha.
Seize the rat of death. You can, but potentially, yeah, it's usually better if you're throwing something to try and get a clear line of sight. So let me make sure that y'all can actually see everything going on currently. There was a way to keep it centered on the icon. Have to ask what it's about. Nice. Move this aside a little. Face.
She wants to know what to roll for throwing the bomb.
That is going to be deftness, throwing, I believe, unbalanced.
For this one, yeah.
If you don't have that, roll your standard deftness. I believe it's that minus. I think that's.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What, minus.
I'm glad our bombardier does not have throwing unbalanced.
Oh,
So it's a 3 minus 4.
Okay. So that's not gonna quite make it. Let me roll on the deviation table to see just where this is going.
Let's just hope it lands close to me and we have no jacks.
Huh. Alright, well. Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, no.
As you wind back to throw it, your nervous grasp can't quite hold on to it, and it goes flying back, and instinctively Abby catches it in her mouth.
God.
The good news is Abby shares your turn, so she can still do something. She's currently very proud of herself for catching this strange-looking thrown toy. What would you like Abby to do? She's a good dog. She's just trying her best.
Is it lit?
Alright, do you want her to give it back to you? Because Abby has, let's see, a pace of... So yeah, Abby could move up to 14 squares overall this turn.
Jesus Christ.
If you want, you can have her deliver it to someone. Okay. So Abby dutifully nods. She kind of barks, almost drops the firework, quickly grabs it. She goes, 1, 2, 3, hands it off to Min. 4,
Okay.
and just sits there very happy with the job she did.
She is, in fact, a good girl, despite how much I hate her.
Alright, so that means we are up to Jack. Does anyone have a Jack?
Nope.
Also, don't forget to put the cards that you use on the table so I can just click and drag them from your hand to anywhere on the map.
Okay.
Alright, so if there's no jacks, do we have any tens?
Yep.
I have a 10 of clubs.
10 of spades.
Alright, 10 of spades has priority. We're up.
All right. Take a step to the side so I'm firing through fewer people.
Oh boy. This is gonna be a
Gonna-
difficult shot.
I'm gonna aim like basically between everyone's legs since it's
Ooh.
rats.
Alright, so are you dropping prone to do so?
Yes.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll make that shot a little bit easier than normal. And let's see where this goes.
Okay.
11.
Alright.
Oh.
Don't say let's see where this goes in relation to bullets.
So let's
Too late.
by the way, is the lantern you're holding just a... I forgot to ask, is the lantern you're holding a directional one, Min?
No.
Okay, so it's... Oh, it's an ambient one. Oh, okay.
Not a bullseye, I guess.
That
Yeah, it's not a bullseye.
changes some things.
We get more sight.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm going to be putting that down.
So the rats can put it out.
Or I could, you know, can I trade it with Abby?
Give the dog a
I mean,
lantern.
if you would like to.
Yeah, I'll trade when she hands me the thing. She'll take the lantern.
Let's see how this looks. Can you see more?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like what I see.
that's a lot of rats.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of rats.
Yeah, that's some more rats. The rats, for what it's worth, look just as surprised as you, and just as displeased. Do you want to give the lantern to Abby?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll retcon it. That is now Abby's light.
Like, I imagine there's a little handle that a dog could slip their mouth in.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
Abby has her hand occupied now.
All right. How's my 11 for my shot?
All right. Let's see. I'm going to say that there were some penalties with trying to shoot through people's legs, but I will say, let's see, it was through 2 people's legs effectively. Let's say it is... I'm going to say it's a -3 to shoot through one person's space when you aren't, like, prepared, when you haven't told them, hey, I'm about to shoot through your legs. Please don't move them. But
Okay,
even
yeah.
then, that would collectively bring your 11 down to a 5, which would still be just enough to hit.
All right. So damage
Mm-hmm.
28.
Okay. don't think that I didn't prepare for this kind of shit.
Look, this is a rifle. It's gonna do damage.
No, it is. I just miss having my rifleman.
So, that was a 28, you said?
28, yes.
Okay, so you managed to pick off a good few number of these rats. They are not looking happy. There's very few of them now, but there is still just enough that they have a swarm together. So functionally, they have the damage threshold of a larger creature, but they can only take so much damage still.
Yeah, makes sense.
And this
gonna-
one, you almost have killed enough with that one shot, that bullet just tearing through these tiny little soon-to-be carcasses, that you've almost dispersed that swarm.
I'm gonna. It's my turn.
Yeah, well, is there another action you're doing?
I don't think there is another action I can do. Actually, real quick, this is very technical. There's one thing and one thing alone that I missed on my character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
That's my pace.
Your pace is equal to your nimbleness.
Nimbleness. Okay. So
That's how many squares you can move over this whole round, so you can split it up between different acts.
so it's the die type?
Yes.
Okay, so I have 4d10, so just 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yep, that's it. That's all I can do. I only can shoot once per turn.
Okay. Any other 10s?
No, my highest is a 9, and then Parrot's is a 8.
I have
All
a 9
right.
of hearts.
Oh, really?
Min
Oh, there it
is
is. It
gonna
is a
take
9.
a
Sorry.
Min's gonna take a step. Throw the firecracker up in the air and kick it towards this, using Vengeance of an Angry Monkey.
Okay, can you explain what that does?
Yes. So your hero has learned to mimic the vicious attack of an enraged monkey. However, instead of hurling merely fruit and or other things, and it has the in there in the words, she can turn nearly any small item into a deadly missile. The missile does her strength plus 1d6 damage for every success and raise she gets on her chi roll, or key roll.
Oh,
To hit, I use my fighting martial arts, but use my deftness instead of my nimbleness. Range increment is 5 with a max of 5 times my key.
Wait. Geronimo, do you also have a 10?
Yes.
Oh, alright.
Geronimo, would you like to sleeve?
And make sure also, once you use your card, to drag it onto somewhere on the field so I can discard.
Geronimo, do you want to move first, or do you want to take care of the currently burning thing in my hand?
Did Geronimo already drop the 10? Because I see a queen and a 7. As there are 2 cards.
I don't know. I guess we're mistaken. I mean, you definitely had the move that you could have been able to do that here, yeah. Also, I'm gonna say that by default, unless you try and set a fuse for a specific time, I think 3 turns after the fuse is lit is gonna be the standard time before bomb go boom.
I'm also doing this in the hopes that it explodes on contact.
Okay. This is,
Alright, so-
I will say, this is dangerous because it is an explosive that you are kicking.
I'm kicking, but using it magically, meaning that it doesn't hurt
no,
me.
I understand. I'm just saying, if it does go wrong, it'll be ugly. But...
Hold on, I have to do this manually because, again, with deafness, that's going to be a 12.
All right. And you are targeting this one over here?
Yes.
All right.
Alright.
Yes, I think that you can see that.
Alright, and that's
that
12,
hits, yes.
so that's 1 success plus 1 raise?
So how much damage we look at?
Hold on, let me do... It's strength plus 2d6. Alright. That's a 5 plus 2d6. That's gonna be 14 damage.
With 14 damage, you are able to deal 2 levels of wounds, which basically means in this case there is a significant chunk of these that are going to be taking some pretty rough damage. Also,
Does it explode?
Yes, there is a bright flash of light there that just goes And in that light, I will say you don't see any other rat swarms nearby. Also, I need to roll something real quick. Oh, no, sorry, I don't need to roll something, but you do note that on seeing this bright, fiery light, the rats do look visibly startled, and they seem for the moment a little less coordinated as it.
Okay.
Also, Obsidian might need to duck out early.
Okay.
Do we want to wrap up at our usual time of 9 o'clock, or do we want to
That
have...
would be nice for me, yes.
I think that's reasonable. So, we're just about done. That was your move, right?
Yep, that was everything for me.
All right,
I already put my stuff down.
all right. I want to see if I can let's at least try and get one action from everyone available. So I think 9s are next. And unless I'm mistaken, I think the only 9
I
we
have a
have
9 of spades.
all right. Well, we can do this quickly.
I have 9 of hearts.
All right.
I'll hold my 9.
Oh, okay. All right. So that means it is your turn. Parrot.
Can I technically see the other shaded swarms?
I would say from where you are right now, you could only see this one. However, in that flash of light and the resounding squeals and skittering noises, you're definitely aware that there are others. That sounds like they could be over here, some over here, some a little further afield even, round about there.
Okay. I would like to cast magic, but I do not 100% remember how to do so.
All right, so what are you trying to cast?
Thunderclap.
Okay, so you are going to be rolling for X-slinging, so that's the number of dice.
There is a dice button next to Thunderclap. Is that... Sorry, I did not actually end up casting spells during our combat tutorial.
That's to hit.
Okay.
I think that determines how many cards she draws or whatever.
Yes. Yes, okay, yeah. So let's see. On an 11, I believe that means you are drawing 7 cards total from a fresh...
And I need a pair.
Yes, you need at least a pair.
Okay. Are you drawing or am I?
I can draw if you like, but I think we... yes, here we go. I can do 7 cards.
There we go. I have 2 10s, 2 jacks.
Ooh, that's even better than 1 pair. That is 2 pairs.
Wow.
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 All right, so let's see. I believe 2 pair is... I want to say that's 2 steps above a pair.
Whenever I played one of these, I had to have one open, like a guide open for what's it
There's
called?
3 of a
Poker.
Oh, yes. That is 2 steps above a pair. So that means you're looking. The DC that they have to make is. They have to make a C7 bigger check, all of the rats, within 15 yards. That's pretty big thunderclap there.
Jesus Christ.
Is that
Clapping
creatures
those cheeks.
or enemies?
Let's see. Everyone.
Oh, yay!
But it's a radius. It's not a
Yeah.
beam.
So you can basically place it, I would say, within what you can see from there.
Yeah, like
And I should also say that's like the maximum radius sphere that you can make. You can choose to make it smaller.
yeah, I'd probably
All right, where would you like
aim
to?
for it.
Okay. All right, and from there, let's see.
And a radius to not destroy men.
All right, let's.
It'll be unpleasant, but it won't deafen.
With 1 yard, you could get 2 swarms.
Gimme.
I mean, you could get potentially. I think you would be able to get like 3 or 4 if you were to make it like the full, or make it like 5 yards. But
Alright.
then Min would also have to make the roll. And
What would I have to? What roll would I have to make?
Vigor, it would be a target number 7.
So
I might be able to do that.
If you do a 3 yards, you can get 3 of them without min.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah,
Place it there.
I first ever spell casting in this party. I'd rather not take the chance at deafening it.
You're fine.
I mean, you don't
Trust
need
me,
to be
I
hit.
had worse start offs.
All
In
right.
character, not gonna thunderclap.
All right. So I have got some rolling to do. Let's see. What are these
I'm
rats
sorry,
looking?
and I love you.
Don't be sorry. Like, this is already so much better than the first time, the last party I rolled to cast a spell. Do not apologize. Fine. There we go. Alright, they have a decent number of dice that are kind of average size, so I might be able to pull this one out. I can't count the rats out just yet.
I have the privilege of most people in this party knowing what's going on and being very, very polite about it. About me not knowing what's going on.
Look, the last time I played a Hexslinger, I had to have a poker hand,
Right.
handout next to me at all times.
So, where was the radius you're doing this from?
It was 8
was-
meters.
Yeah, it was like right here. Yeah.
Okay, so for this swarm over on the edge, they just barely managed to succeed. This one is fully stunned. Stun. This one is also stunned. Wait, hold on. I think I may have done that a little wrong. Yeah, this one I think is... Oh wait, no, that one did get the 8. Okay, yeah. Alright, so yes, you managed to stun several of these swarms, and you can see these huge hordes of rats dazed. Not quite out just yet, though.
Woo.
Alright. Xenobia, did you want to take your turn before we wrap up for...
No, I'm good.
Alright. I'm sorry, y'all. I would love to continue going, but I gotta respect the talent's needs, and the talent's needs are to go to bed.
We're all
Yes.
too elderly.
Well, it is 3 in the morning for me, so
Yeah.
Understandable.
yeah.
Alright.
He's a MILF now. She needs her beauty sleep.
Well,
A quick thing, I am turning in some of my chips for bounty. I'm not spending that bounty obviously yet. I'm just doing that now before I forget.
alright,
I intended to do that before.
we are going to continue this fight in 2 weeks' time. I'll leave off with the narration of, as you are down here shooting and kicking and blowing up these rats, above the squeals and the skittering and the uncharacteristically deep-throated growls of these creatures, you can hear off to the distance, off over this direction, the screams of Victor Tim and a visceral, fleshy squelching that you can't...
Dope.
Oh no.
Will our
Victim has
heroes be
died.
able to save Vic? They even be able to beat all the rats? Or will they end up being mincemeat themselves? Have to tune in. Time to Deadlands. Alright, I'm gonna very quickly run through the list one more time. If any of the members of our esteemed players have someone they would recommend for a raid, you can type it out in Discord while I do this. Real quickly, though, Obsidia, if people want to see more of you, where can they find you? What are you up to?
They can find me over on my Twitch. It's XObsidiaX, your favorite Death Knight. I'm also raising money for the next week for Trans Lifeline, a trans suicide prevention and support network. So please feel free to go check them out, and or donate if you are an especially wonderful person. Here's the Tilify link. Pretty
Okay,
poggers, I would say. The end.
I would agree. And then Hemlock.
I'm Hemlock. You can find me here, Hemlock with an E. You can find me on Twitter, Hemlock Stone. I don't have too much to plug. If you need any art or rigging done, I got a $200 vet bill this morning.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh. I'd certainly like to try and help with that when I am not on indeterminate freeze, but I can vouch very strongly for Hemlock as someone who also draws and rigs models, and who honestly should probably be very cutthroat and honest with promoting. I gotta honestly say, between the two of us, you should definitely be hiring Hemlock way more than me. Trust me, they're really worth it. Geronimo, if you...
So,
Hey, the mic! It's back!
I just
Oh!
realized that I had muted in Discord and
Oh,
never
no!
unmuted
Oh my
in Discord.
god.
I don't
Jesus
need to.
Christ.
I have
Problem.
such.
Oh,
I have that look of
folks,
shame.
folks.
This is real pro streamer hours.
It is
Streamer
our
hours,
first
okay.
it is our first game back after several weeks. I think we're
Listen,
allowed to be
Mom
a little
life, okay. I was
foolish.
fixing a microphone, trying to feel the August. It was not good. but
On the
But
plus
yes.
side, we did get to explode something.
That's
yes,
true.
we did. Plug Geronimo Kiddo on Twitch, Geronimo_Kiddo on Twitter. Real quick, I just want to put out there, I'm an ambassador for Pause Your Game, which helps streamers with emergency vet bills if they need help. So I will link that to you.
Oh.
Hemlock.
I mean, it's not an emergency. It's a distempered vaccine and different shit. It's fine.
It's a surprise vet bill. It's not an emergency vet bill.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
She's
either way,
fine. She's just old.
B, you're awesome. Just know you're awesome. Thank you so much for having us and making the little map. That map is adorable. Look at those little mice.
Oh, I
They're
can't
cute.
wait to show you more of these horrible, horrible little mice. And last but certainly not least... Oh, actually, I say that there's two people.
I was going to say.
Oh, this is awkward. Second to last, and second to certainly not least, Epitome.
I am Epitome, also known as Epitome of Awkward. You see me in the background and hear me in the background of these streams because I don't know how to shut up. I do not stream myself personally outside of very special occasions, but I am a part of an organization that helps providing first aid and first response services for nerd conventions and kink positive conventions as well. The organization is Operation Hammond. If you have the time or the means to check it out, please check it out.
Okay, and now certainly not last nor least, Ellie.
Yeah, so I'm Ellie. You can find me on twitch.tv/Eliador or Twitter, Eliador as well. I will be streaming Destiny in the next couple of weeks. The new expansion of Destiny 2 is dropping next week, and I will be streaming that a lot. So I hope to catch you there.
Okay. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Beatrix Bunny. I stream very regularly, usually 4 to 5 times a week, with a focus on roguelikes, digital artwork, and tabletop RPG. So if you're interested in any of that, I hope you'll swing by again sometime. If you want to stay in touch, by the way, here are my socials. We got the Discord, lot of lovely folks hanging out in there. The Twitter, where you can find memes, artwork, all sorts of things, my schedule, and the YouTube, where I put my VODs when I remember. I should probably put them somewhere. All right, let's see. Who do we want to raid here? What are we feeling? Hate? Yes? Do you have
I know that Goblin Paladin Rosalia is doing a collab with Yulia
Ooh.
for Gunfire Reborn.
Ooh.
I don't think I've rated Goblin Paladin Rosalia before, but I'm a big fan of Yulia's work, and I'll take that as a endorsement.
Yeah, she a good bee.
All right.
I just linked him.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to be rating Goblin Paladin Rosalia, who is currently hanging out with Royal Knight VT, aka Yulia. And thank you so much for watching this. If you're watching this in the future on YouTube, I love YouTube. For now, though, take care, everyone. And until I see you next, happy trails, partner.
Yeah, yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Y'all be rootin', tootin', and by God, kind.
Be kind.
Aww.
By the way, if you want to use the raid message, the first one is general use, the second one has subscriber emotes. All right, I'll give you all a hug. Little smoocheroo from me to you. And take care out there, because somebody really cares about you. And a whole bunch of other fine folk do too. All right. See y'all again sometime soon. Happy trails. Bye now.
Bye.
And we are out.